Hello. Hi. Welcome to Total Annihilation, episode 9. Look at me go. Look at us go. I'm gonna be slightly distracted because I just noticed how weird the where the video is. I still haven't posted the video. If you go to my YouTube channel when this comes out and you see video, then that's a pretty big deal for me. Although it's probably going to be coming out tomorrow, the 18th of February. Where does the time go? And I doubt I'll be able to get it done by then. Hi, how are you? Hello, welcome to Total Annihilation. As I was saying before, don't worry, the ADD meds are going to kick in very soon. I am your host, Niall Seguin, aka Optimist Prime. How's it going, everybody? You're looking well. You're looking all right, despite everything. Yeah, look, man, I'm not gonna mess around. How about we just get to it? How about we just get to the good news? Because there is ample. I'm thinking I'm afraid to say this because people will like take it as a commitment, but I'm thinking just the sheer volume, the number of times where I've just had to been like, okay, I gotta cut it. I can't keep going. And then you just end up leaving some pretty good news on the cutting room floor. I'm thinking maybe I'll do like a maybe weekly, maybe. I like that someone right now is listening to this. Someone who has a real job is listening to this and is like, you think you can pull that off, dude? You think you can talk into a microphone for like not even an hour once a week? You think you just don't bring yourself out. You're no good to us dead. Oh my God. Yeah. All right. I'm going to try. I'm going to see what I can do. But the ADHD is strong with this one. All right, guys, here we go. What do we have for good news? There is a gender rights triple if you're a fan of baseball. And if you're not, that's when you hit the ball and it goes far enough for you to get to third base, not quite to home. I'm only just using that term because three cool things happened over the last few weeks. Tuck in Thailand granted free hormone therapy for 2/3 of the country's transgender population, and the other third is the one that isn't hot. So, what are you going to do there? I don't. That's so stupid. I'm so sorry. I think it's weird. I, is it a budget thing, I guess? Because 2/3, you're right there. You're right there. Just make it the full 3/3. But hey, you know what? 2/3 is not nothing. Also, India's Supreme Court declared that access to clean, gender-sensitive public toilets is a fundamental right, protecting the rights of trans people. So good for you, India. Is it weird that I think the craziest part of that is the clean? Did you just guarantee clean public washrooms is a human right? Are you out of your mind? Do you know how much that's going to cost you? I feel like that's a class action suit every other week. Just, I don't know. If you clean a public washroom, you're the real hero. It's you and the first responders. I'm not even being sarcastic. Sometimes you're like, God damn, what is wrong with us? What if that's the only time where my optimism is slightly rattled? When I go to a public washroom and I'm like, oh no, we can't get out of the muck. We can't get out. Look at us. Look at what we're doing. And then I read some of the graffiti and sometimes it's very witty and it makes me feel better. And hit number 3, Europe's top court has ruled against France's marital duty, which, dear God, would allow or did allow French people to cite a refusal to have sex as grounds for divorce. I'm going to be real with you. I put this one in here just to really, really drill down on the racism that we feel. Because I bet you one or two of you was surprised by that thing about India's Supreme Court. I bet you one or two of you were like, really? Really? India? Meanwhile, France has been doing this for I don't know, how old is the republic? A few hundred years. But putting out was like a marital duty, a duty. That was canon, that was law. And then we don't talk about that. We just talk about Eiffel Tower and berets. What else? Fewer diseases. Already in 2025. I know grammatically that's a terrible sentence, phrase, whatever. Already in 2025, 3 countries have eliminated major diseases. Niger eliminated river blindness, which is a tropical disease which affects 8.5 million people, which is bonkers. And in addition, I'm going to sneak this one in here. Last year, Niger also kicked the U.S. military out of their country. Now, it's not totally great because I think it's like it's a military dictatorship now, which is it's not ideal. I'm mostly saying that for my Canadian listeners, my fellow Canadians, because we're freaking out. We're low-key freaking out because we're like, oh my God, we're going to get punched in the face by the US. And then maybe Donald Trump says no military, but who knows with that guy. But if that makes you feel any better, I looked it up on a random website. I don't know what this website was. But apparently Niger's military ranked 119th, Canadian military ranked 28th. So, I mean, maybe hmm, maybe that'll help you get a little nap if you're Canadian. Georgia has become malaria-free in 2025. First 2 months. Good for you. Congrats, Georgia. And Guinea, I don't know why I just got in my head. Guinea. I'm pretty sure it's Guinea, but in my head, I'm like, anyways, has eliminated sleeping sickness. So there we are. Renewable power additions for 2024. In 2024, 95% of all power grid additions in the United States were renewable energy, with solar making up 80% of that, which is pretty cool. Little bonus factoids. It now takes a day to add a gigawatt of solar power, I'm assuming, to a grid, is the end of that sentence. Whereas 20 years ago, it would take an entire year. So we're hauling ass. I know that, okay, it's not perfect. It's never going to be perfect, but we're doing good work, guys. A gigawatt can power around 200,000 American homes, or probably 200 billion sub-Saharan African homes, because they're not dicks. And then also notes, I've left links to this in the show notes if you want to read up on it. It also notes that the average solar farm has increased its capacity by 6. So multiplied by 6 in just 10 years. That's nuts, man. That is crazy. Oh, also, fun fact about this story, about the additions, the renewables in the US. The biggest solar additions happened in Texas, followed by Florida. What is happening? What is happening? Pick a lane. You can't be incredibly conservative and progressive at the same time. That is just crazy making. That is gaslighting. You can't be anti and pro science. Are you not getting this? That is insane. The 2 major sources of light in Texas and Florida are solar panels and book burnings. What kind of sense does that make? What does that mean, guys? But I mean, at least it's there, right? Yeah. I mean, guys, I really think that this is not something. This is huge. And I know it never feels huge because we're always looking at all of the negative news, but that is a lot of progress in a short period of time. And I think renewables is we're cresting here. We're cresting a thing. Sure, yes, climate change is still an issue. We have a lot to fix, but we got some momentum. We have positive momentum. This is the thing. It is positive momentum. Before we had some bad momentum, but we're pumping the brakes and things are turning around. 10 years, what was that stat dropped? 6 times. 6 times more effective in 10 years. Now, maybe that's not replicable. I don't know. Maybe you can't do it again, but I really need to underscore when stuff starts to accelerate, right? It was like smartphones. It took forever to make smartphones. I Googled this one time. Apparently we've been working on smartphones for a long time. I don't want to say a number because that would showcase my ignorance, but way before 2006 when they started cresting. And then once we hit whatever tipping point we needed to hit, now my phone does way too much. It's listening to me right now and judging me. All right, what else we got? Trump versus progress. Spoiler alert, progress is winning. This one I like. So the U.S., I mean, I like it all, but this one is delicious. The U.S. Energy Information Administration uh, expects solar to continue to provide the majority of new capacity in the U.S. through 2026, regardless of what your boy Trump has done. Like the oil companies are not currently planning to drill, baby drill. There's 12 U.S. state governors that have just decided to we're still focusing on renewables. But I think the oil company thing is the biggest interesting point because it's, Trump hops in office, does all of these things to like ease restrictions on oil and oil production. And he thought, oh, that's, that's just going to increase oil production. But that's like if he got into office and eased restrictions on like productions of DVD players. Like, okay, thanks, Grandpa. It's 2025. Time to put him in a home. Jesus. Here's a little something that you might enjoy. Global air pollution has peaked, according to that wonderful super nerd Anna Ritchie, author of Not the End of the World. I mentioned her, I think, last episode. Global air pollution peaked in 2023. So now we're on the downward spiral. Take that to bed tonight. Not spiral. We're on the down slope in terms of it's going to get less. Jesus. Wow. I don't know what just happened. Speaky words have gotten really difficult for me. Anywho, cancer research. Another W for cancer research. This one, okay, all right. I'm going to read it and then I'm going to riff because that apparently is what I do. Professor Kwang Hyun Cho of Korea figured out a way. So this is the innovation. He figured out a way. All right. Apparently when a cell starts to become cancerous, there is a point where it is both a healthy cell and a cancerous cell, which I'm not going to lie, that really, that destroys my brain. I don't even understand how that works. That's like, it's how like light is a particle and a wave at the same time, I guess. I don't know. But this dude, I say dude, I don't even know. I didn't Google properly. Anyways, this professor has figured out a way that there's apparently a point, like a middle point, just when the cell is about to become cancerous, and there's a way to nudge it. Figure out a way to nudge it back into a healthy cell, which is nuts, guys. That's crazy. That is nuts. That is just, I guess that's like the medical equivalent of like talking down someone who just started listening to the Joe Rogan podcast. Like a buddy just is like, I'm just starting to ask some questions. You're like, okay, all right, let's start kicking the tires in some of these January 6th conspiracy theories. Let's see if I can talk you back down to reality. So there's still a long way to go on this. It was done in a lab-grown petri dish situation. But, all right, I feel like this goes back to racism, right? I feel like this goes back to racism. Like, what did I just read? Did I just read that someone has maybe figured out a way, or at least has successfully done it once, to where they have taken a cell and prevented it from becoming cancerous, which last time I checked, I feel like cancer is a thing. Am I wrong there? I feel like there's a lot of ribbons. I see a lot of ribbons. I feel like it's ingrained. I feel like there's a lot of cancer in the world. I could be wrong. I don't keep up on the news. I just feel like if it was, Professor Lefebvre or Professor Smith, I feel like it's at least an A block in your daily news. I feel like that's a trending, well, I guess we don't really do TV anymore, but I feel like that's trending. It's like, Norwegian scientists have figured out a way to possibly reverse cancer. Like that would be trending for a solid 3 minutes. And then, Donald Trump would post that he wants to ban ducks for their terrorist affiliation or whatever fever dream, what sort of Big Mac fueled fever dream that he just woke up from. I bet you he sleep posts. I bet you like he's asleep. Otherwise, some people will wake up and they'll just start babbling in the middle of the night. I bet you he's got that. It's just his fingers just go off and then he wakes up. Like it's just like like you blacked out. All right, here's a little something. Oil companies are dicks, but we have their surveys. Let me see if I can explain this without sounding like an absolute lunatic. So there's a company in Africa that drills for water where in areas where it is needed, looking for aquifers. And this company managed to, Jesus Christ, managed to convince oil companies to share their surveys to help them look for water wells, which, just to say it, if you're an oil company, how are you not? This is such a, because like it actually helped. It helped them find an aquifer in Tanzania, which is going to provide 2 million people with water for 100 years. If you're an oil company, and I'm not even kidding, I think it's in the article where it's like, apparently they'll do a survey. And if there's no oil there, it doesn't matter if there's like a lake, just a lake of water sitting there. They'll be like, they'll literally be like, it's dry. And then they won't say anything to anyone. What is wrong with you? Reach out to the country. You know they got a water problem and just be like, yo, I might have, just be sketchy because that's what you do. Just be like, I might have some water information. If you give me a $50 or however much money is a good amount of money for an oil company. I mean, it's just dickish. You have the information and you're just going to sit on it. Yeah. Oh my God. Just monstrous. What else? Congrats to Australia for getting frisky with their renewables. They connected more renewable projects between July and September 2024 than they did all of 2023. The projects they're connecting are 60% larger, and 70% of the energy projects they have in development right now are renewable energy. And if they keep this up, they might catch up to Ethiopia in a few years. And then I was in the neighborhood and I thought, here's something that I think is a nice thing to hear. So without further ado, this is a list of countries for whom renewable energy generates at least 80% of their power. Here we go. Albania, 100%. Bhutan, 100%. Nepal, 100%. Paraguay, 100%. Iceland, 100%. Also, a small note, Iceland was the first country. I think last episode I said Ethiopia was the first country to get to 100%, but apparently it's Iceland. And that's how I know I don't have any listeners in Iceland. Because no one was like, yo, man. Democratic Republic of Congo, 100%. Costa Rica, 100%. Ethiopia, 100%. Lesotho, 100%. Norway, 100%. Central African Republic, 99%. Come on, guys. It's 1%. Get your shit together. My God. Uganda, 99%. Sierra Leone, 96%. Namibia, 96%. Malawi, 94%. Eswatini, that was fun to say, 93%. Kenya, 92%. Uruguay, 91%. El Salvador, 91%. Tajikistan, 89%. See how I rushed that out? I rushed it out because I was like, oh, I was so afraid of mispronouncing it. So I was just like, Zambia, 89%. Denmark, 89%. Brazil, 88%. 88%. Okay, listen. The rainforest, the clear cutting is a problem. But if I'm Brazil and people are like throwing shade at me for the clear cutting and I'm at 88% and you are not, go yourself. What are you talking to me? Well, you're going to talk to me? You're going to talk to me? 70%? It's apparently Canada. By the way, that is a hard number to get. I tried to look up Canada's number for renewables, and it's a gong show out there. I should probably do more deep dive research on this, but a few sites said 70, one site said 17. I'm like, what are we doing? By the way, US, 23%. Jesus Christ. Jesus. You can't talk to Brazil. You can't talk to Brazil about anything. You're 23%, they're 88%. You're going to be like, stop cutting trees, please. The out of here. New Zealand, 87%. Yeah, see, I should have just gone with it. Here we go. I'm going to push it out like a baby. Not like a baby. Here we go. Kyrgyz, Kyrgyzstan. Kyrgyzstan. Apologies to anyone who lives there. 86%. Afghanistan, 84%. Let's take a beat. 84% Afghanistan. When you just spent the past, I think it's 40 years with both the Soviets, now Russians, and Americans just dicking around with your country. Just like, it's like a war festival. And you're still like, I'm still going to work on my renewables. That's insane. Mozambique, 82%. They actually, fun fact, export electricity to South Africa, which I like. I don't know why I said that, or I don't know. I like it. Belize, 81%, and Ecuador, 81%. So congrats to all of them. Here's a little something. This one's going to be a kind of anxiety addition by subtraction for some people who might be freaking out about this, because there's, right, okay, so there is a meteor heading our way, going to be in our neighborhood around 2032. And of course, as soon as this information came out, the internet does what the internet does, which is just go insane. Because you're going to get views. You're going to get views, you're going to get clicks. If you convince everyone that this is the beginning of the end, because that's what we like. I still don't get that one. I'm gonna keep digging around. I hope I find something for you. It's the why we love freaking ourselves out so much. But here's the thing. I left a link. Hank Green, who's a huge nerd, posted this video on YouTube. I left a link to it in the show notes if you want to get through that. It's got some interesting facts. But here's the thing. The meteor isn't going to kill us. There's a bunch of people who are saying like, oh, this meteor is going to be like X times Hiroshima and X times Nagasaki. And this is true. But he does point out that we've detonated bombs like that before. We have those bombs. We've tested them out. And you might have noticed we're still here, most of us. So that isn't an issue if it hits us. And then even if it does hit us, it only has like a 2% chance of hitting us. I think he said somewhere between, like somewhere in South America and along the Pacific Ocean, like along the equator, it's going to hit somewhere along there, hopefully deep in the ocean. And this is something else that I did not know until I started doing some snooping on this one. Did you guys know this? We've apparently successfully tested our ability to nudge asteroids and meteors and all of that. Oh, is it a meteor or an asteroid that's heading our way? Anyway, it's a big rock, big space rock. We've apparently, fortunately, thank God, there are nerds. There are nerds who, when we're hanging out, doom scrolling, they're like, hey, you guys want to get together and maybe figure out how to avoid going out like the dinosaurs? I'm like, yeah, sure, let's do it. They, get together, crack open what I'm assuming is an obscene amount of Red Bulls. Do scientists do Red Bulls? I don't know. I just picture them with coffee, whatever. And then they successfully, I don't have the reference for that. I should probably have, but I mean, give that a Google. That'll be a fun read. But yeah, they managed to nudge an asteroid just because they could. All right. Here's a little something this week. Things that I have found help me that I hope will help you. So I don't know enough about this to really talk about it, but I'm still gonna, because I'm on the internet and that gives me license. A little something called Yoga Nidra, which I honestly think it just feels like guided meditation. But basically, if you Google, it's helped me like when I want to calm down and when I need to sleep, it's outstanding. There's this one video, because I have ADHD, so I'm always like, I don't have time to fool. I only have time for the yoga, not the nidra. I can't do this. Let's go. I got stuff to stare at. So I did a search for like a 10-minute Yoga Nidra YouTube video. And there's this lovely woman. Doesn't matter. Ashley? Allie. I think her name is Allie. If you're listening to Allie, then that's the one I'm listening to. And it's just basically like a little body scan. She talks you through a body scan. And I think it's fabulous for calming down. Like it's just a general calming practice, but also when I'm having troubles getting to sleep, I'll do like a body scan and I don't make it past my right elbow. I'm doing the whole, doing the whole body scan thing and it's lights out. So there, I hope that helps you. Here's a little something for my ADHD peeps. This is fresh, like 24 hours fresh. I got the book How to ADHD by Jessica McCabe. I got that from the library that has an understandably long waiting list. So if you're a big money person, or maybe if you're just a money person, feel free to buy it because it is chock full of goodies. Yeah, it's a bonanza of helpful stuff for people with ADHD. Now, here's a little something that I think is going to help for people in our current climate. I don't know why that makes me laugh. I think maybe it's hysterical laughter. Maybe, you know what I'm saying? Like maybe it's just an overwhelm at this point. But like, this is a scientifically backed way of stopping negative thinking, which I don't know why. I have a hunch might be useful for people out there right now. So neuroscientist Donald Hebb, classic Donald, wrote a book. He wrote a book. I didn't write down the title, but he wrote a book. But anyways, his whole thing is this. It's called Notice, Shift, and Rewire. And it's something that you should do at least once a day. So basically, now I'm going to say it to you and you'll be like, the day, but it's basically, I don't even know if it's this practice so much as it is repeating this practice that it makes a difference, right? So basically, you make a point whenever you can to notice when you are spiraling, when you're like locked into like a negative headspace. And then you shift yourself to like some form of gratitude, something positive, something that you're like, oh, that was nice, or this is what I'm really grateful for, or am I not lucky that I met this person, or that I have this in my life. And basically you just focus on that, right? And then the rewiring just happens on its own, where that just gets, and this is the thing, repetition, that eventually gets easier, so that when you do get in a situation where you're like, spiraling, it's a lot easier to pull yourself out of said spiral and make you just live the life that you were meant to live. And this is a little personal note that I wrote here. This is probably going to suck, right? This is probably going to suck. That's something to bear in mind when you're going into this. It's not going to be just like, oh, I did it for a week and now I have no anxiety. It's going to be work. Just remember, just aim for 70%. Keep on keeping on. Maybe make a little note for yourself, a little reminder to do like a daily practice. And there you go. Maybe combine it with that stoic daydreaming thing I was talking about. I mean, I don't want to run your life. I'm just saying if I was doing it, this is how I would do it. Just like a little thing where do a little stoic daydream, make yourself feel really good about something that you were just taking for granted 10 minutes ago. And there you have it. Everybody, that is it. That is it for this episode. I hope that helped. I hope that made you feel better. Please remember to rate and review. For the love of God, please rate and review this podcast, because that's like a huge thing. Feel free to follow me. We're just playing Dungeons and Dragons, and it's really silly and it's big dumb fun, and it'll pull you out of this for at least an hour and some change. If you're flush and feeling generous, feel free to throw me some cash at my Buy Me a Coffee page, and email me, for the love of God. If you have anything to say, I'm so lonely. Email me at Total Nileation. Do I have to spell that out? Nah, I'll leave it in the show notes. Total Nileation at gmail.com. And that is it, folks. Remember, if you cannot be a shining example, be a terrifying warning. Let's get it on 3. 1, 2, 3.